and the whole world. Peace, peace, peace. Gently rub your palms and fingers, pass the energy over the face, raise your hands, take a deep breath, exhaling, bring your hands to and open your eyes. So thank you for joining the group meditation. As you all aware, Saturday is an important day in our daily group meditation session. And that is on Saturday, we invite somebody who's closely associated with Vedadri Maharshi's principles, has done a lot of spiritual service, and they share their thoughts with us on some important topic of Maharshi. Today, we have with us Ramya Muthumanikam. She is a program manager working in public sector called WorkSafe BC in the British Columbia region of Northern America. She is in the software industry for more than 15 years now. Sorry for that. And gained experience working with different people across the globe, handling personal and professional life. Now, she started her spiritual enlightenment journey when she was 15 years old. Now she is coordinating the Sky Trust in British Columbia region. So on behalf of all of you, I would request her to give a talk on memory and its impact and how we can make use of the concept of memory in changing our imprints, changing our habits, etc. Now it is over to Ramya Madam. Over to you.
Thank you for this introduction. Hi, everyone. I would like to take a couple of minutes before we start the presentation, a minute of silence to analyze what was the key habit that we were trying hard to solve, or get away from that habit. And I just wanted 2 minutes of silence where we can take an opportunity to identify that habit, which was a prolonged habit that we are trying to change, but still we haven't had an opportunity to change it extensively. Like I have not left the habit. It could be very simple as giving away tea or giving away any food habits or getting into a practice of learning and then suppressing negative thoughts and bringing in positive thoughts. We'll take a quick 2 minutes before we get into the actual discussion. Can we go in for a silence? We'll take 2 minutes of silence and we'll come back at 6:24. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by the divine. We'll come back to the session. So today, I wanted to touch upon a main experience that I have got an understanding after doing extensive introspection through the philosophies of Vedatri Maharishi. So I would like to touch upon certain areas of how we can get or evolve as a better person by dedicatedly practicing Vedatri Maharishi's preachings or teachings. So one of the thing is like, anybody, would you like to explain any challenges that you're facing consistently because of trying to explore, like, I wanted to stop this habit and I haven't been successful? Does anybody want to share their experience, like why you were not able to do it, or what was that habit as such?
Dear friends, please write in the chat box.
I'll be following the chat. Actually, how do we actually say it as like, when I wanted to, I would like to explain how our habit is cultivated through our real-time experience, like, or a practical experience as in the current day life. So being a working woman, when I go get to meet a lot of people all around, I feel like having short hair is so good for me. So what happens is like, I get an idea of short hair, that small thought process of like, oh, I like that short hair. And then getting into the memory of, okay, the short hair is very good. I would like to get it one day. And when I finally find it like, okay, why can't I spend $20 for me to go for a for a good haircut like at another women? Because I've not been in a culture or in a family orchestration where they do practice frequently going to a center for external beauty modifications. So I haven't been to a salon before. So I wanted to see like how the look and feel of going to a salon looks like, and also wanted to experience the luxury of treating myself. So with the modern concept of like treating myself and spending some money on me for my personal pleasures, and all this concept made me push me to a state where I'm going into a salon and getting into a habit of like, I'm getting my first haircut done. And after my first haircut done, I feel very happy. I'm feeling very contented because I've done something that I wanted for a long time. So it gives me a pleasure of being happy. But after a day or two, I realized that haircut is actually troubling me because it falls on my face. And I have a strong problem, like I'm not able to brush properly. I'm not able to wash my face. It every time falls on my face. When I'm cooking, it falls on my face. And then from the day 2 of my haircut, every day morning when I go pick up my brush and I brush, I look at myself and say like, oh, the haircut is not giving me happiness. It's falling on my face. So that is the thought. It's just a thought. And then day 3, day 4, day 5, consistently what I'm building is a thought that my hair that falls on my falls on my face is disturbing me. So I'm repeatedly getting into a habit of thinking about a hairstyle or a haircut that made me happy on day 1. And from day 2 and 3, I'm starting to thinking that the hair that falls on my face is troubling me. And then later, frequently after 60 days, I have a habit of like thinking about a cortisol or increasing my cortisol level, saying like I have a bad habit of just thinking about like this haircut is bad to me. So every day morning, I'm bringing my emotional state, like I having a hormonal increase of my cortisol, and say like, okay, this is not good to me. And I enjoy of thinking the same thing for 60 days. And on 61 day, when the haircut and the hair is sufficiently grown and I see that I do that hair is not troubling me anymore, on 62nd day, I feel like why I'm not getting the cortisol level increased. So my brain demands the cortisol level. So what is it is like any negative thought that comes to our brain is a repetition of the habit of building, or that emotional state is required to maintain our this is like training our brain. It's like Every day you put a ball to a dog, the dog will actually go and pick the ball and gives back to you. The day one, it will be hard, day two will be hard. But after a number of practices, at least on day 10 or day 15 or day 50, the dog will know that if a ball is thrown to it, it has to pick it up and give it to us. It's the same level. So every day morning, I wanted that cortisol or negative thought. So on day 61, when I realized that I'm not getting the sufficient negative thought that day, my brain demands for a negative thought. So day 63, 64, I feel like I don't have sufficient negative thought with me because I have adequately practiced of having that negative thought, having a high cortisol level in my brain every day morning. So what ideally happens is day 62 or 63, I get to a repulsive mode and I go do a, I do practically go for a haircut or practically cut my own hair. So what happens is like my brain is trained for a negative thought because of the continuous habit or a practice that I have been building up. So irrespectively, our brain is not knowing that thinking about bringing a negative thought. I never know that this was a negative thought until that day one, or when I was continuously practicing for 60 days. But on 62, 63, when I realized that this is becoming more impulsive and I wanted that cortisol level high, and that is where it gives to. So how we'll be able to realize that this is the reason? Our brain. So continuously our brain cops in, like when we sit for meditation, when we sit for any kind of relaxed activities, or we wanted to engage in a different activity, we have to identify what is the issue and how we can resolve it actively. So this is the overall content that I wanted to deliver. So I would also like to discuss about certain areas where we are tremendously feeling it to be a hardship in voluntarily building that habit. So the first thing for voluntary build-up of a habit is about continuous practice. So what is that habit? How it becomes an automatical behavior that is getting injected into our body. How we are unconsciously getting addicted to that behavior. So this is where we have to identify. And then understanding how it involves in storing and refreshing that memory in our body and how it is becoming like an automatic behavior. So how that is getting recorded. So our Karmayam is a place where it continuously records all the practices that we give to it. Any thought, whether it's going to be good thought or a bad thought, how it's getting fueled. So today, when I say like when I wake up, I might have two thoughts. Would I be able to send my son to school on time or not? Because if I have a 10 minutes delay in getting up because of a late night behavior that I had, then the next day morning, the first thought that comes to my mind is my son going on time or going late? So I'll start fueling whichever thought that comes to my mind. I should start ignoring the thought rather than fueling both of the ideas, whether it's going to be late or whether it's going to be early. Because when I start fueling, so wherever, so one of the thing Maharishi usually emphasizes is like where you put your mind, that will start getting the strength. So I don't want to put my practice or my memory into like the thought, like give power to the thought process. I just wanted to say like, okay, I have 1.5 hours. How I will start breaking down my activities. So this is where we will be starting out. So we'll become a better leader for our own body or mind when we are understanding about our habits and how this memory aids to be our decision makers. So emotional management will also come into a bigger plate here. So how do we understand the emotional state of us today? How do we influence that emotional state with positive thoughts? So some of the repetitive actions that links to the emotions is like how it gains its understanding from having a high emotional or hormonal strength at that point in time. So we have to identify the key problem and see what triggers it, and then how we can break down each of these actions so that we'll be able to attain a better habit, or we'll be consciously bringing to a thought that this is where my behavior is influenced. I want to stop it here. How will we get this understanding? By an introspection. So as we keep telling, like, why do we have to do introspection? Introspection is very, very hard. It is taking long time. I don't get to spend 40 minutes a day to do an introspection or an introspection meditation. 40 minutes of time we have for all our emotional traumas, wilder thoughts, and we struggle to get rid of negative thoughts. We pile up a lot of emotional factors in our brain. How do we actually slowly get rid of the emotional factors? So before we start with introspection, or like do an extensive meditation of 40 minutes, before or after the introspection, to cut down or reduce the number of thoughts that gets to our brain, Vethathiri Maharishi has asked us to do a simple 4 divisional SWOT analysis. So today, why do I get the thought? This is the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat ideas that we are trying to implement, or we can say it in a different fashion. Like I'm going to say, like, why I get the thought. Why should I? Is this more important? Is this thought giving me strength, or is making me weak, or it is a threat that it might make me weak in a longer run? Or how we say is like, is it definitely a week I have to get rid of the thought? So we can columnize all our informations before we get set for a meditation and identify what is that memory that is actually has to get rid. And what, not memory, it's the thought. It's about what is that thought we have to get rid so that we'll have a positive or a very strong emotional mindset every day. So this simple exercise would actually help us understand where we stand and what is that thought actually transfers into a bigger habit on a longer run. So struggling between habit and getting the wisdom is where Maharishi has given us a structured plan. So every day we are having an opportunity. So if we are in India or whether across the borders, we are having an opportunity to connect virtually or in person with the mandram. So those people connecting with people in our Maharishi's club will help us be induced only with positive thoughts, keeping our emotional value high. Not always talking about if you go and meet to someone from our club or from our group, if you go and tell them I have been continuously facing some problems, only we will not have an opportunity to discuss about why the problem happened, how it happened. We'll have a simple solution: do introspection, continuously follow the habit, because we are building a habit of balancing our emotional state. This is where we wanted to emphasize. Building a habit of balancing our emotional state is important. And how do we identify the gaps of attaining true wisdom? So attaining a true wisdom starts with smaller practices. So today when I say like, okay, this is the problem that I have, then I have an awareness, having a self-awareness of, okay, I have this problem, and this problem is because of I have a repetitive behavior or a recordings that is already saved in my Karumayam. How do I get rid of this habit? So constantly blessing ourselves. We don't have to take hundreds of behaviors that can be corrected in day one. We have to structure it and say like, okay, today I wanted to refine my eating habits. Today I wanted to refine my reading habits. Today I wanted to refine on what I can do better today. Like what am I looking forward for something else? This is a learning journey. Or if I have a relationship issue, do I have to fix? We don't have to jump in fixing anything right away. Identifying that whether it's solvable or non-solvable is a first state. So how do we identify, is it solvable? Can I fix a relationship with my in-laws? Can I fix my relationship with my cousins or anything around this? So how do you identify whether the state before getting into a solution? So this is where we have a struggle. So coming to a self-awareness will be highly achieved when we are able to do the introspection on a regular basis. So the role of introspection is explained. So I just wanted to say, emphasize once more about how our meditation practice is helping us. So whomever we meet in today's life, everybody has their own challenges. So when I meet a person and I feel like, okay, he's happy, it is not he's happy. What we perceive is like he's happy. It doesn't mean that he's not having struggle. So when we come into the self-awareness, that awareness will bring, all this awareness will be there in us when we start practicing our meditation. So that's why Agatavam is more important. So I just emphasize on practicing Agatavam on a regular basis. So Agatavam, we can learn information about our Agatavam through our Kundalini Yoga. So we are associated with, as long as the longevity of our association with our simplified yoga practices is where we'll reap the real benefit. It's not just going to be like, I'm doing it for a month, I'm good. No. So it is a repetitive activity. We have to do it for a lifetime. So it doesn't stop with, okay, today I have a problem. I get into Kundalini yoga. I learn the practices. I do it for 6 months and my life has changed. I'm going to stop. It will never be that way. It is a continuous factor because every day we are growing as a person. We are growing from a small child into a kid, and then we are from a kid to a teenager, teenager to a youth, and youth to an adult, and then an old age person. So going back, like throughout this journey of our life, in each stage, we have our own challenges. How do we identify our own challenges? Because Vedatri Maharishi wants to enhance the life of every living being in the world. So he has not preached this only for people with high wisdom. He says like wisdom starts with everyone. Whoever is suffering today also has to have an understanding of what wisdom is, and they wanted to get into the practice to stop the worries, to being in a more peaceful life. So identifying our key challenges is a continuous journey. It's a spiritual development that starts from today and ends only when we leave our body or soul. So how do we get aligned with our higher values? Meeting right people and meeting people with higher values. So what is that? Meeting right people and meeting people with higher values is made simple when we integrate ourselves with our Kundalini practicing people at all times. At least weekly 1 hour or 2 hours will help us enhance our thought process, because we are interacting with people with high moral values. And we can be confident that we are only interacting with people with high moral values who will never ever give us a value that actually deteriorates our mindset. Like when I go meet people in a different club, or when I go in for any club, it could be like a social activity club or any preaching club, or it could be some friends gathering. So one thing that I would strongly insist is like when we meet people in Kundalini Yoga, the people who are practicing Kundalini Yoga, we can make sure we are meeting the right people and we are meeting the people with higher values, because the way we have built ourselves will always change when we constantly integrate ourselves with mantra. So I just wanted to reiterate how we have to transfer our negative habit into a positive attitude. First is like awareness of what the habit is. So how do we become aware is like doing a SWOT analysis, like when we first get the thought before, or sitting out for a 10 to 15 minutes of self, like before and after the meditation, will help us introspect our own self. First, identifying the thought that triggers our emotional disturbances and identifying whether it's a habit or not, and then doing extensive self introspection, and then that habit will definitely get sublimated. So gradually we will see that negative habit will be converted into a positive thought, and it will become, that will start registering in our Karumayam. So the same thing I have given us in the slides. I would like to say this is strategically proven that we will be able to be a profound leader if we are able to constructively build our own self. So every day it's like about carving our own soul. So what is it is like when we have a habit of positive thoughts, our leadership dynamic will be very, very high. When we have negative thought, our leadership dynamic will actually reduce. Leadership is not about just going onto a stage and holding a mic, or becoming a leader for a big company or managing a big company. It's about leader for our own self, like how we manage our day-to-day activities. How do we have mental clarity, making sure we choose the right thing that is in front of us. When somebody is given an option A or B, how do we feel like, okay, I'm confidently going for an option A? How do we feel how I can achieve my goals? A goal is a very simple goal. Could be like I have to in a day-to-day life, being a woman, the one of the biggest challenges being time constructive, or like making myself, giving a clarity that I have to be more punctual. because I have to put the school on, put the children to school on time. I have to pick them on time, put them in tuition on time. Or a man who's going, like a person who's going to work, they have to maintain time because they have to do effective time management. Saying like, I have to drop the kids at school, go to work, come back, pick the kids, put them to sleep on time. We keep feeding them on time and putting them to sleep. All this is like time management. So from very simple activity, it becomes more helpful to break down what that activity is, empathize our own self, because we will know like this is not a factor that it is controlling my problem. So sometimes there could be an external factor that's influencing our daily habits. How do we make sure like I'm not getting that external factor in influencing our daily habits, or keeping away our that mental clarity to know what is that factor that is influencing my habit is where we have a decision makers. And it'll help us listen, actively listen, empathize. It could be empathizing our own self. First, self-empathy is very important than we go and empathize someone who's in problem. Empathize and make sure that we will be a positive communication. So because it helps us build a relationship. So that's why in our introduction song or Valt itself, we'll say like, we wanted to live a better life, enhance our life on a daily basis. So the emphasis that we're making through Maharishi's practices is like enhancing our day-to-day practice and how well we can interact and live as a social animal, because we're all social animals at the end of the day. Confidence to meet people. It's not about just meeting a crowd of 100. It's about meeting our day-to-day people, friends, family members, children, without any guilt of like, okay, I have a problem. I'm not good at it. It helps us build a confidence of being good at our own self. I have explained it. So I'm re-emphasizing that a personal habit and an emotional trigger will be identified through our introspection and getting connected through our group sessions or with our Kundalini Yoga practicing people all the time. And sublimation of our thoughts would also be there when we are having a high self-awareness. So identifying our action plan, the only action plan that we could recommend at any point is like doing a SWOT analysis before and after meditation, because that's more important to identify how we can suppress our thoughts. And thank you for this opportunity to help me explain my real-time experience related to how a simple habit and triggers us to bring it a habit, and then a memory of like influencing our memory and becoming a habitual activity. I would like to take some questions if anybody has.
Wow, what a interesting speech it was. I think you have done a lot of homework. This PowerPoint speaks well of this of your speech. Yes, it's very nice, and actually, I was just taking notes of each and every point. I want to just memorize it because it's so good. And that is the struggle between habits and memory, wisdom. How that is whatever Maharishi has said, you just repeated. I can say it is so nice, and so how meditation helps us, and particularly this Turiya meditation, that it helps us to change ourselves. That is the habits into wisdom, things of wisdom. Thank you so much, Ramya, for your excellent speech and the PowerPoint. Dear friends, yes, Dr. Vijaya is there, ready? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah, ma'am.
Valga Valamadan, everybody. It was a really nice one, bringing out, because this is the problem I think most of us have. And I had mentioned in the chat too, as Bharti madam said right in the chat, I have mentioned that how habit is, sometimes, like simple example, if the kids are small and we, hit them once, in fact, that hand will be really itching, to hit the child. Like in the Tamil, we can say tudikirde, the kai varal tudikirde, to hit, and if they make a mistake. So I know how that habit is formed, and it is very difficult to get over it. and then so sometimes we do it voluntarily and involuntarily, or purposely or intentionally, or sometimes it goes without even our noticing. Sometimes I say to myself, I can't trust my own self sometimes. So, I mean, forget about trusting others, So it is
Yes.
a really a difficult task, we have to question ourselves. It has been so inborn from the childhood, once we come to senses, when we are, around 4, 5, maybe we start noticing what parents, uncle, aunties, party, tata, whatever they are doing. Now we think, oh, they are doing the right, so we follow that too. But it is so difficult to get out of it. We have to question ourselves, and by the time we are questioning ourselves, we are almost 15, 16, and we are totally in a different world, and we are so influenced by outside peers, pressure in the wherever we are studying, or in the society, what we see when we go to different programs. So it is very, 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 very tough, I should say. It cannot go in just one day. And I feel habit, the word itself, HABIT, if you remove H, a bit remains. If you remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it remains. So if you remove that I find it's myself. When you stretch your arms, you stand like a T, So I mean, it may be funny, but I feel and I keep this in my mind all the time. And even in the classroom when I'm teaching, whoever it is, I say to myself, okay, what is the difference between me and the other person? So we need to just correct them. And in one of the question answer sessions, I had done that, saying, okay, is scolding somebody wrong? Does it go as a negative imprint in me? Then I remember Maharshi saying that since we are correcting them, we are not harming them, so we are correcting them for that habit. So I think it is the right thing. And thank you, Ramya, for bringing out the points, like how Maharshi has, brought down all those different things, like how to moralize even thoughts. I feel sometimes not just the desires. We respect the thought and then just say to it, okay, I'll come back to it. Move on now. Let me move to the new one. We can talk to the thoughts. That sometimes that's what I do. So hold on now. I'll say, But thank you. I appreciate. I don't know, whatever I felt like. I mean, I was just sharing with you, everybody. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Thank you, Ma. Because our brain is also getting trained like a dog every day. So one time when we start giving the feed of like negative thought, our cortisol level high, we will not even know how when the brain wants that. So it is getting trained like a dog every day. So when whatever we feed it, it'll get used to it. So we should identify a place where we know that we are feeding something wrong to it. So to identify that, we have to get into a practice. What is that practice? So this is where
Right.
we are meeting we have the like we're blessed today to get ourselves like connected with Kundalini yoga practices, because there are millions and millions of people out in the world. Why do we get to meet someone with this high moral values? Then somewhere we are blessed, so we should stick to this, hold to this, so that we'll become a better person. We would have seen like today a leader like Abdul Kalam, or we will say like a person Gandhi ji or Nehru ji has we'll be always inspired by great leaders, but their soul has been continuously purified for so many lives to attain that kind of superior lifestyle of being a blessing. So how much should we refine today to get to that stage? We cannot be Abdul Kalam today, but how many times we have to refine our soul so we become a great leader like them, or great leader like even Maharishi. So how much the soul has to be purified. So we are in stage one, not even stage one, below stage one. So we have to identify a stage where at least to an optimal level we live a good life.
Absolutely. I know, like nowadays, there are so many videos, so many media, they are just coming out with so many different stories about the stars, the planets, how they are coming in alignment, and all those things. And plus, we have that Ugadi festival coming. And we know everybody's telling different things. So I think we should just, I feel we should just stick to what our forefathers have said about what to do on certain days. And Maharshi has also given that Panchabhuta Navagraha meditation, such a wonderful one. I think we should just be with it.
Thank you for this opportunity. And
Thank you.
anybody wants to share any other experience?
Yes. Yes, anyone else? Anyone else? Professor Balchandran, they are all much satisfied with your speech. So they are just keeping mum, probably, I hope. Yes, Professor Balchandran.
Yes, Ramyaji, it was a very nice exposition of how to deal with thoughts. Thoughts are, it looks physical, but sometimes very abstract, also very difficult to deal with. And that is where I think Vethathiri Maharshi has given us a very good lesson of how introspection only can change us. No other thing is possible. And he has given specific methods, like analysis of thought and polarization of desire and all that. So if we do plan and then put it into practice, all of us will have great chances of enhancing our personalities. And today's lecture was a good exposition of that. So thank you, Ramraji. Be blessed.
Anyone else? Dear friends, it is only discussion time. You can very well raise your hand and participate in the discussion. Okay. Professor Balchandran,
You can conclude.
shall we conclude? Ramya, would you like to say something more on this topic?
No, it's fine. She has covered all the aspects.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So that's why I'm asking whether she could give me some more points also, because she's so good. She has spoken so nicely. That's why. So dear friends, now let's all come to meditative state to bless Ramya. Ramya, be blessed by the divine. Her family, be blessed by the divine. And her present and future endeavors be blessed by the divine. Now let's bless Professor Balchandran. Professor Balchandran be blessed by the divine. His family be blessed by the divine. His present and future endeavors be blessed by the divine. Now, dear friends, I have some announcements to be made. And actually, apart from this speech on Saturdays, we are having meditation also. All the 365 days, we are having meditation morning 6 a.m. and evening 6:30 p.m. sharp Indian Standard Time on Sky Yoga Online English Meditation and channel. And please do participate daily and enjoy the bliss. And also we are having thought for the day from the book Blossoms of Life, authored by our Guru. We'll be reading the one chapter, that is the chapter that is assigned to that date. So you can enjoy those things well. So please do join and also bring in more of your friends and relatives so that we will help them also to enjoy the bliss as we are all doing. And we are having foundation courses, that is 1st and 16th of every month. And also certification course start every Monday, and Kayakalpa course on 2nd Sunday of every month. And also to know more on Sky Yoga, you can log on to www.kundaliniyoga.edu.in. And thank you, dear friends. We will meet again with another interesting speech from our professor next Saturday till such time. Thank you all. Be blessed by the divine. I also take this opportunity to wish happy Yugadi to those who are celebrating Yugadi tomorrow. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you all. Thank you, Professor Ramya.
Can take a minute to bless Bharati Amma as well. வாழ்க வளமுடன் Bharati Amma. வாழ்க வளமுடன் Bharati Amma's family. வாழ்க வளமுடன் Bharati Amma's all dedications and services that she's doing to the society. Thank you. Be blessed by the divine Amma.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you all. Thank you, Ramya. Thank you, Professor Balchandran, for your continued guidance. And thank you, dear all participants. Thank you so much. We will meet again.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Hello, Nalini ma'am, how are you? Nalini ma'am, are you there?
Very nice to hear from you.
Yes. You can also raise some questions, isn't it, madam?
Yeah.
From next Saturday, please do it, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. We'll be happy to hear your voice also.
Oh, I am not so expert, madam. I'm a good.
It's not expert, madam. Nobody is, everybody is expert to in
Yeah.
and everybody is not so much good in everything, isn't it?
Yes.
Come on, ma'am.
Madam, I wanted to know this in earlier, if there is any program, English or something like, like how you had that scientific, last time you had that science, about science, something. I remember I attended that, like that in earlier, if you have any programs, how we will know? It's
That is, have you subscribed for that book, ma'am? There is one book, Onboarding. Have you subscribed?
yes.
There, it will be, they would have given the programs for that month, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Apart from that, if I come across something, I will inform you, ma'am.
Okay, madam. Okay. This last time I attended a Science of Kayakalpa. Beautiful
okay.
one. Beautiful one.
Okay.
That's what. Okay. So nice to talk to you, madam.
Yes,
Thank
me
you
too.
so much.
Be blessed by the divine.
Okay.
Valige Samruddhi. What's that? Valige?
ಬಾಳಿಗೆ ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಬಾಳಿಗೆ ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿಯೊಂದಿಗೆ. Thank you. Happy Yugadi.
Yes, thank you. Happy Yugadi. Yes, I am a Telugu lady only. I celebrate tomorrow Yugadi. I think you are Kannadis, Kannadiga,
Yeah.
Kannadiga, yes.
We celebrate
We
tomorrow.
both will be celebrating tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, thank you,
We
ma'am.
also. Yes. Thank you. Namaste.
Yes, namaste.